Welcome everybody to the After Dark Show. I'm Don Rogers. I am really happy to be here this week, and I'm really happy to have my guest back on the After Dark Show. And I'll tell you why I'm really happy once I introduce her and bring her on stage. She is the Blue Fairy. She is an intuitive. She is a tarot card reaper, the reader, not reaper, keeper of the blue flame, and I like to call her the queen of the Facebook meme and a personal friend of mine, Aurora Diamondheart. Thank you, Aurora, for coming back.
Hi, thank you for having me back. Good to be here.
Absolutely. So we were talking about before the show, and I just mentioned that you are the queen of meme, and there's a reason I'm in a very good mood. Those of you that watch my show regularly have probably heard me refer to a friend of mine named Cheech. His real name is Lee, and for the last, I can't even remember because it's just been an ordeal. He's been waiting for a double lung and heart transplant. On Father's Day, he got the call.
Wow.
He is alive and well and baffling doctors. He was supposed to be in a coma for a month. He is awake. He has called me twice. They had his ventilator tube out in hours instead of weeks or months. This man is a living fucking miracle. And whoever the donor was, I will love you for the rest of my life, my friend. So, on that note, Kyla and I have come to the conclusion that a lot of what has kept Lee in the good spirits and be alive and well is his sense of humor, because this man can pack a fart or tell a fart joke like nobody else and will clear a room with his medicated gas while he's been waiting for this operation. And he actually took great joy in it. He would preload before he had doctor's appointments in Toronto, and beans and eggs and all that wonderful stuff that's just going to rot everybody out of the room. Like, he took pride in it. It was his own version of amusement, right? So where these two things combined is you are the Facebook queen of memes, and he has a very funny sense of humor. So I've put about a minute of something together, and I'm going to share that with the audience before we get started. And then I'm going to ask you to do a tarot card pull on his healing journey, if you could.
Yes.
But this is something I put together with his sense of humor in mind, but from your memes.
Oh, okay, cool. It's funny because I have a meme I've been saving. I'm going to send it. Like, now that you said that, I'm like, oh, that's who it was for. So after the show, I got another one.
All right, here we go.
Oh dear, oh dear.
The Pope takes a poop and the President too, and the fancy pants banker in his three-piece suit, the big fat general and all of his troops. The truth of the matter is everybody poops. The famous brain surgeon has to leave his lump, and the high-priced model has to stop for a dump. But can the sides of Canada can't spray away the truth, cause even if they don't admit it, everybody poops. Everybody poops. Everybody poops. Sure things number more than two. Death and taxes and everybody poops. Some days it's easy, other days it's hard. But if your system's working, thank your lucky stars. Nobody talks about it, not a word is said. But if you're not pooping, then it means you're probably dead.
The last one, I love the laugh. It makes me laugh every time I get a notification and I have to go look at it again. And I start cracking up.
Yeah, I absolutely love your memes, and I knew those would be right up his alley, and I found Everybody Poops for the music to go with it, and I was like, okay, this just fits. So Lee, buddy, that was for you. Thank you. Now, Aurora is a very, very gifted intuitive and a tarot card reader, and I asked her before the show on this key of my friend's healing journey if she would be willing to pull a card for him, because I know he's probably watching live because he's supposed to be in a coma, but he's watching live in the hospital bed. So he is watching. He probably won't type in or anything, but I'm sure he would absolutely appreciate that.
All right, we're going to do one more shuffle then, since I know the question now. Okay, so the healing journey. journey. Perfect. Because I already shuffled up some. I got his name ready in there, but now we're going to put the question into it. All right, tell us about these healing journey. All right, here we go. From Lee's healing journey. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. First card. Ooh. First card he got is the 9 of Cups. Now, as you can tell, this guy is very happy. He's very joyous. He got a wish. This is a wish that was granted card. And all the cups are all the just full emotion that you had. It's like all sorts of emotions. You're just full of all of them, to the point where like he's just like he's even a little bit overweight because he's literally like indulged in these emotions and stuff like that. His voice is open. His throat chakra is open. So, I mean, he's definitely a talker. Let's see. Oh, you said he's very humorous too. That makes sense. This guy looks like he's a humorous guy. You see that? He just looks like he just has a really good time in life here. And he's made it through something. Like, to me, it's been coming to look like a road. Like there's a road behind him and he's walking forward, and look at all those emotions behind him. He's made it. He's pushing forward. Okay, I like to do 3-card pulls. So we're going to do 2 more, and that should be the total of the message here. The other thing I'm looking at is his shoulders here, this cloak that he's got on in this picture. He's got these swords on his shoulders. So it's almost like, it's like he puts it all out there. It's like, it's very visible what he says. It's just right up front. Gosh, how can I word this? It's like he clothes himself in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll know him by how he talks, even, so to speak. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull another card. What else do they want to tell us about Lee's healing journey? What more part of the message do they want? Lee's healing journey. Okay, so I don't know if there's a woman in his life, but there has been a woman that has been integral into helping this happen. Okay, like you see this electric energy coming off of her head. I really feel like that's like Christed consciousness energy. So she's a mature woman. And the Queen of Cups. So then again, we got cups. So she's in touch with her heart. Her higher heart is awakened, so to speak. And she knows how she feels, and she knows how to share that and communicate that. Okay. Like fiery words. Like she'll go after what she wants. When it comes to when she knows what she's really feeling, she'll go after what she wants. And I just get this overwhelming feeling that it's like her prayers and her constant request possibly was what like chipped away at getting this done, because like she's wearing a white cloak, so to speak. So like this is purity, this is innocence, this is going after what you want. That is there's another word, like purity. There's another word I'm looking for that I can't quite pull out, but maybe it'll come to me after we pull this next card. Either way, it's saying that she, like, her chakras her crown chakra is open. Okay. Her third eye is open. Her heart is open. Her throat is, I mean, this woman, she asked her what she wants and she's going to get it. If it's coming from a place, it's the emotional intensity inside her. This is what it is that it adds more weight to the requests and the prayers when you have stronger emotions to go along with it. So she really did help with this whole getting this wish fulfilled. Okay. But let's go ahead and pull one more card. Okay, what's the final part of the message for his healing journey going forward? So this woman's going to continue to help him. She's going to be there for him. All right, let's do one more. This last message for Lee. Oh, wow. It's time to celebrate. You're out of the woods, dude. Like, this is it's getting together, social gatherings. This is like celebrating. Like, this can be a wedding, this can be a conference, but this to me says like it's time to celebrate your health. It's time to celebrate and go forward. And if there's any gatherings that you have wanted to attend that you were held back from doing before, it's like, no, now's the time to really go out there. Like even the sunflower on top, it's like the sun is shining, something has come into full bloom. You know, and it was thanks to all these people that added their cup. Look, it's all cups. It's the people who care about this person that made it happen. You know, the energies combined, and it allowed this miracle, this wish fulfillment to be granted. So if there was any worry that maybe of as far as the healing journey, I would not be worried about the healing part at all. At this point, I mean, even with what you're saying to me, it sounds like a miracle. It sounds like the only way this would have happened is through God and through believing and trusting and praying. So just continue to do that, because I mean, Sky, he's been blessed. He's been blessed. So I get a good feeling from that, though. The cards are saying, like, get ready. Like, I'm getting at least the next 3 months are actually going to be really joyous and easy. So count on that.
I have to say, I know a fair bit about his life. He's, like I said, one of my best friends, and you hit a lot of things that you could not have possibly known, because you didn't even know what the question was before we started. You didn't know who the subject was. So I know for a fact that you were definitely locked into something there, and you were in his energy. So thank you.
I can feel it. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that opportunity. No, I can feel it as soon as, like, I don't know, I can just like see him in the hospital bed even, and it's like he's got that Nine of Cups energy to him. It's very like just grateful and happy and like, oh, like, yes.
He had to get some sutures in his head, and one of the first things he did was ask the nurse to tie it in a bow, because he needed to have a bow. He's just that guy, like, goes through a 8-hour lung transplant and asks for a fucking bow.
That's adorable. He's helping the nurses and stuff too, because he's so grateful. Oh my God, that's good. That's beautiful. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you, Aurora. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
Last time you were on the show, we were talking about your awakening, and we kind of breezed over the fact that you mentioned that you were a walk-in. And this is something that I've become very interested in. And what I wanted to do is, if we can come at it from a 101 standpoint, what is your understanding of a spiritual walk-in? I think is the best place to start. And then from there, I'll just kind of open it up, because there's a lot of different places that I want to touch on in this subject, because it's actually a pretty close one to me personally right now.
It's funny that you mention it, because I actually have been doing a lot of thinking about the concept lately, because I've just really am trying to wrap my head around it. It's like we say these words sometimes, but we don't exactly know all the time what they mean. And when people hear, like, for me, a soul braid walk-in, it's like when people hear that, like, what does that mean to them? What does that mean to me? I've been contemplating this, right? And so this is my understanding of it. Okay. Like a physical vessel, a body, it can exist without a soul, basically. And what can happen on this planet, especially if the body is a starseed, I guess, like for me, it was like I had the Diamondheart. Okay. Like I didn't know that's what someone would call it or anything back when I was going through all this. But what happens is that the trauma of living on this planet, especially if they know that you're a magical creator being, is they throw even more at you so that they can crush it's called a permanent seed atom. You can look this up on Ascension Glossary, which is where God naturally intuitively guided me to this information. But 4 years before I even knew it existed, they were giving me terms from this glossary. Okay. I mean, it was called the first term they used for me that was in it. I couldn't believe it was called the Anubian Black Heart. And this is what they told me had happened to my heart. They said that Anubis had my heart. And this was because of the trauma and the suffering that I had gone through, and the drug use, and just all the ways in which we are abused and we allow ourselves to be abused. Okay. And what can happen is the soul can decide, you know what, it's too much, it's too painful, I'm out of here. The body can stay behind. The body can still function even if there's not a soul in it, which you wouldn't think that is possible, but it is apparently, because this is what had happened to me. I'd been through so much that my heart, I didn't even have feelings anymore. And I think I mentioned this on the last one. It was like I'd had a dream about being in my bedroom and having a friend over that I hadn't seen in a long time. I had no friends at that time. I had a friend there, and there was this bright light on, and I was so happy. And I woke up and I realized I didn't even know happiness anymore. I didn't even have that as a regular part of my life anymore. And so I was pregnant at the time with my daughter, and I was putting two and two together, and I was just realizing, like wow, like the programming and the trauma of what they did to me, it's like I am basically doing the same thing that I've been watching. I'm doing the same thing. And now I'm going to be living this, and my daughter's going to take after me, and she's going to go out there and she's going to do the exact same thing that I'm doing the way she perceives it. Is the thing. It's about how you perceive it, and you're going to go out and you're going to relive that. All right. And I was like, oh my God, like I can't have this for her. She deserves better than that. And I just prayed with all my heart. I just said, because I'd always been a believer in God. I lost my connection to him for at least a decade between, I think 26 and 36. And at this point I was like crying on the edge of my bed. And I just remember saying, God, I need help. I can't do this alone. I don't know what to do. And that was when my soul braid walk-in appeared at the edge of my bed. And this is when all the information, like the Nubian black heart and all that kind of stuff like that, it was when they finally, over like a 3-day period, they talked to me and they told me about these things that happened. They had me meditate. They had me look at my heart, and I could see it was encased in this black goo, which I thought it was funny. That was called an Nubian black heart in the Ascension Glossary, because all they told me at first was Anubis had my heart. And then I looked at it, and it was encased in this black goo, and there was a crack in it. And in the crack was this blue light shining out. And the blue light was shining out, and it was hitting the chins and the face of these angels or guides that were around me. And it kept scaring me at first, to the point where I like had to shake myself out of it. And they were like, no, it's okay. It's just the light from your heart shining on us. And this is what's making you afraid. So I had this soul braid walk-in, this being come to me. And over the next couple of days, they basically told me that if I agreed, that they had to show themselves to me. Did I tell, am I going over the same thing twice? No? Okay,
No,
cool.
no.
All right, awesome. Okay, so they told me that I'd have to agree if I wanted this to happen, but they could become one with me. Okay, and so I started to think about that. I started to ponder that over the next couple of days, and I'm just thinking about the body, because the body is its own thing. Like I still had a personality, even though my soul was gone, so to speak. Like I still, like, this body is called Cassandra, and she has these certain things this body likes and doesn't like, and all that type of stuff. And so after a couple days, I finally said to this being that had been with me, oh, that's where I was getting to. They told me that they had to show themselves. When they showed themselves to me at the edge of my bed, it was only briefly in my mind's eye. Okay. And like it's like, when kind of like with ghosts and stuff, when there's a ghost that'll appear and you'll like see and you'll look over, like that type of thing. And it's like, but then it's gone, right? Well, that's kind of what it did. And I could tell that it looked like this creature from Doctor Who called the Silence, but it wasn't the same face, wasn't the same, because the Silence is actually a really creepy character, right? But this looked more like a reptilian, quite honestly. And it was a white-skinned reptilian, and they were the ones. And they said they could only show themselves to me for a second because they didn't want to scare me. At the time, I wasn't into any of this stuff. I have to remind people, like, I was a drug addict. I had no feelings. My soul had abandoned my body, and so as I got to know this being, as I started to contemplate, do I want to agree to this, first of all? Because at the same time, I'm also thinking I'm crazy. You got to realize, like, I'm also thinking, I can't believe I'm thinking this, but I really took the time to consider it, what they were offering me. And after a couple of days, I said to them, I said, if we become one, then what happens to Cassandra? And they were actually really happy. I could feel their energy, and they were very happy I asked that question. And I said, I just don't think it would be fair that Cassandra go through all this suffering, you know what I'm saying, and she not get to come along. So what happens to her? And they said, and they kind of like, no, sweet child, like, no, like, they were like, if we become one, then even when you die and you leave this body behind, we will go on and we will live forever because we are immortal. So your story will become part of my story. And when you leave, we'll go on together and we'll be together. And I said, okay, I agree to it. And the first thing they did for me was they took me to my deepest, darkest childhood memories, back to the youngest that I could go. And a very traumatic experience that I had that I had never really confronted. And I let my heart that was encased in this black goo, I let it break open. It had to break open in order to start the cleanup job, and from there I was guided step by step to heal, to grow, to learn, to let the soul braid process finish, which I think it finished about 5 years ago, I think at this point now, at this Starseed Adventure Conference where I was fully activated. And so now what I'm thinking is people have to think about it like this. When a baby is created, and that life is getting formed or whatever, the soul that comes into it is what is the word for it? That would be the soul braid process. You know what I'm saying? Like every person goes through an initial, I feel like, if they're going to be a human with a soul, they're going to go through initial soul braid process in the womb. Okay. But what happens to the people like me that went through all this trauma and their soul up and leaves, or it could even be a planned thing. I've heard before. It could even be a planned thing that one part of the soul is only going to stay this long and then they're going to leave and they're going to let someone else come in. Because sometimes souls don't want to, they don't need the experience of childhood and learning all those types of things. So they just would rather wait until this certain time period and then they're going to come in and they're going to soul braid in, and that's going to be it. But it's like, because the body and the personality of the body is something completely separate than the soul, in my opinion. Okay. We are not these bodies. Okay.
Mm.
And I even think it's possible now, like the more I've been contemplating it, I'm guessing it's even possible for there to be even more than one soul braided into a body. I'm contemplating that right now. I just get the feeling that that's also a possibility. I feel like there's just so much that we don't even know. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I would say that the soul braid walk-in process, it did take some time. It did. I don't, because I'm just going based on my feelings of it. You know what I'm saying? And it took that long. It took, wow, from there until the heart activation, it was like about a 4-year period between then and then, just to have my heart come fully back online and for me to be able to feel God's love, true love in my heart again, unconditional love, and so yeah, if you're relating to that type of thing, if any of this resonates with you and you just like, oh, I feel like that might be me, it most likely is then if you're resonating with this.
See, and a lot of that did, and I'm actually going to share. When Kyla and I first got together, I was full-blown alcoholic. I don't shy away from the fact that I used to be I wasn't a fall down. I was a fucking pro, right? Like I could outdrink guys twice my size. I should have went pro. But I also met her through a dating group on Facebook, and I was like, I absolutely have to meet her. And it was one of the few times that I was stone cold sober when she first brought her and her son to my house. And the version of me that I am now, we call him that guy, is the one who met her that day, right? I was still in a very alcoholic, addled mind, angry, fucked up life. But the day that she came to my house, we sat and basically just emotionally dumped our purses out, and she swears it was this version of me. And I don't feel like the same person whatsoever as I was before then.
Yeah.
And like there has been a definite shift in who I am. I actually believe that I am a walk-in, and after talking to you last time, I reflected on this very deeply, and I've always had this weird system in my head where it seemed like I could recall my memories, but it was almost like I was in third person view mode, right? It was like those are, it does. I remember the last 7 years like they're mine, right? But every decade of my life, and it's very odd that we hooked up when I was 40, right? Every decade seems to have its own dawn, right? I can go back and like view it, but I'm just watching it. They're not really even my memories. I can just see them.
I can feel that. I can feel it off of you, quite honestly, even just you talking about the last time that we were talking and everything, and you'd shared some with me about how much of a different person you are from compared to like how things just switched for you. You know what I'm saying? That I'm feeling it gut intuitively is like you're absolutely right on the money. And also for me too, it's very strange because when I think back Okay. Like people don't understand. I feel like I've only been here a few years. You know what I'm saying? Like I've only really been here like, I don't know, like 8 years. Like that was when my daughter's 8 years old. And so like all these experiences that I'm having now, it's like the first time, even though this body has memories of having had these experiences before, but it wasn't me in the body having those experiences. You know what I'm saying? But I have the memories of those experiences that Cassandra had back then. But it's like, I don't know. It's like when looking at a movie, it's like going to a textbook. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what happened to her at this point? Oh, okay, there, But like for me, this is all new stuff. Like, how else to put it?
And that's what I wanted to ask you is like how your recall is with Cassandra's memories. Because like I said, I think I'm on number 4 or 5 version of myself. And like I said, I can see them and I don't have any emotion attached to any of those memories. Right?
Wow. Mhm.
It's like, yeah, okay, that happened. Yeah, okay, that happened. And I've had people ask me, like, are you all right mentally? Like, you seem emotionally detached. You seem very stoic about that. No, it just doesn't feel like that was me. I know that the body of Dawn was involved in those things, but I don't believe that this was the stage of my consciousness that was having that life experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that vibes. That checks out.
Yeah. Um, I'm just going through my list here because I was like, what triggered it? We already covered that. So when you say like it came over a few days, but like when you were shifting from Aurora to Cassandra, was it just like, okay, I agree to this and Aurora, or was there sort of like an integration period where it's like, because I have those moments where I just have this inane higher understanding of everything around me, and then there's some times where I'm just a dumb shit in the 3D going like I still even kind of bounce back and forth, it feels like.
Yeah, that's very interesting to contemplate for a second. So hold on, let me think if I can feel into that question there. It took a while. It took up until that heart activation that I had in the sacred marriage ceremony that I went through, to fully have Aurora be in. You know what I'm saying? Like that was when it happened for me. That was the moment. It was like up until that point, it was like the body was still just existing. The soul wasn't fully in it yet. You know what I'm saying? It's like we were working it in. And then boom, she got here. I'm in here. And I was like, everything is new. Like, oh my God, life is great. God is great. I'm in love with life. I'm so happy. Yes.
So just because you're an intuitive and something's been going on, I've mentioned it on my show that I'm pretty sure about 60% of my shows are channeled. Like, not shows, but the segments. I click into something. When you're getting information from higher realms or beings, does it kind of feel like sometimes like you're sitting in the back seat of your own body and somebody else is talking? Because there's times like I've done shows with some really smart people and kept up with them, and I'm like, holy fuck, I sound smart. But it's just like, where is this coming from? Right? Like it's almost like I stream information from a higher source.
It's literally what you're doing. Yeah, because it's about, okay. So not only can we have a soul grade walk in or a soul, uh, whatever we're just mentioning, right? You can have more than just that too. It's also about getting your higher self to integrate fully into the body. So it sounds like you're tapping into your higher self and you're able to bring some of that in your body. You're channeling it. It sounds like you absolutely are doing that. I would definitely call that a channeling, so to speak, because it's kind of like a teamwork job now, because we still got our body. It's still going to have its own personality, but it also, we have our soul. You know what I'm saying? And our soul has a mission to come down here of what it wants to do and what it wants to talk about and what it wants to bring through. Gosh, there was something else that you just said too that I was like, that totally vibed. I felt it. The channeling thing. Okay. Keep going. Say something new. It might come back. I'm like, swear to God, it's going to. Just, I'm like, I can tell. Just say something else.
No, we were talking about how I think that there's been different versions of myself and
Yes.
stages of my consciousness, and
You're saying
that
where
I
do I
think,
get it from, right?
yeah,
asking me where do I feel like it comes from when I'm doing these things?
Yeah.
Okay. In the back seat, does it feel like there's someone in the back, like it's taken over? Yes. I definitely. It's both things. Okay. Sometimes I'm channeling in my higher self, right? Sometimes I'm asking something outside myself. I'm asking one of my guides, or let's say there's a particular type of being that I want to know some information about. Well, we can tune in and we can channel that. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like there's this great channeler that I used to follow all the time. Ivan Teller. He's got a great mind for stuff like that. Okay. For tapping in all these different energies and being able to talk through. But there's another channeler too, who's really freaking good at reptilian channelings. If you ever want to see what that looks like, and his name's Anthony from Canadian Awareness. Okay, so, but the thing is like when it comes through, just so you guys know, it's like, it just sounds like, it feels like me. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like my own voice. Okay, like sometimes when they come and it's almost like, okay, like the best example I can give is because it was kind of like crazy the way they threw this energy at me. It was like I was sitting at my son's doctor's appointment. He was in the doctor's, okay, and I had my car turned off and I had my phone plugged into the charger, and out of nowhere my guide comes, and it's like they just threw this ball of energy at me, okay? And the ball of energy, this is how it is when I have telepathic communications, energetic communications, whatever. It's like they throw the energy at me and then it's got to unfold. Okay. So what it is, they threw the energy and it said, if you don't turn your car off right now, it's going to die. Like if you don't turn your car on right now, it's going to die. Okay. And then I was like, what? You know, and I went and I tried to turn my car and it almost didn't start. And I was like, oh shit, you know? So then I fucking got it to start and I drove around, you know what I'm saying? So there are times like that where it's like my own spirit wasn't even paying attention. So someone else had to chime in, you know? And yeah. And so when I'm talking to like my guides, okay, and stuff like that, that's how the exchange goes. And it goes very quick, see, because telepathy works faster than words. So when I come and I share with people, okay, well, I had this conversation, I had this interaction, and this is what I said, and this is what they said. It doesn't happen exactly like that. You know what I'm saying? It happens quick. And I'm the one, since the energy is hitting me, I'm the one that's responsible for choosing the words that this body has learned that can match the energy of what it is that I've learned, right? It's like I have to tap in. And it's so, like, even today, you know, I was realizing like they threw me in this body, and now I have to get to know all these different energies and frequencies and recognize them and be able to put the right labels on them, you know, in order to have the communications go properly. And I was thinking about how like today, I guess I just now recently identified the energy of disbelief, of people who disbelieve and think something that you're saying. I had not recognized the energy before, because where I was coming from, I was very naive, and I would listen to everyone else's stories and I would give them all the open ear benefit of the doubt because I knew my story sounded so crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I would want to be believed. So I'm definitely going to give these people the benefit of the doubt. But, you know, I was thinking about this one story I told one time in this group about how I manifested Odin in the flesh. And I remember this girl who I thought was my friend at the time. And she had this, I don't know, this weird energy about her. And I never really put my finger on it until just today. I realized, oh, wait a second, that's the energy of disbelief. And the only reason I was able to recognize it is because of my son, William. Me and him have been practicing our telepathy together. And I've been like I blew his mind. Okay, basically. Okay, to the point where like I got so specific with it. He basically said, Mom, you're taking it too far. He said, come on, Mom, come on. And I was like, what? I'm like, are you telling me my own son here is not going to believe? I'm telling you the truth. I'm like, why would I lie to you? I'm like, why? And he was like, wow, Mom, like that's crazy. And then because of him feeling that way, I was able to take that energy of that feeling. And it's like, oh, when people feel this energy and I'm around them, that's because they don't believe. And I get it, because a lot of my stories, if you haven't been exposed to some miraculous things, if you haven't had that type of experience or many experience, synchronicities, angel numbers, songs that speak to you, movie characters that somehow resonate, you know, if you haven't had that type of thing, ooh, baby. Oh, I got distracted for a second. All right, hold on. then you're going to hear my stories. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to share these crazy, mind-blowing stories. And yeah, if you haven't experienced something like that, you're probably not going to believe it. It's hard to believe when I go into some of these things. I get that now. I see that now. But it's all I fucking got. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally all like, you think it's fucking hard to believe for you. Imagine being the one that fucking lived it. You know what I'm saying? And seeing these things. Oh, I love the name William. Oh, that's so good. So look at all the synchronicities for us and the name stuff lining up.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I'm telling you. Names are like, like collectives. Swear to God. Collective energies. But yeah, so I'm just starting to realize it's like I'm not going to be believed by everyone, but I know my truth and I'm going to keep on coming back out here because this is what's so frustrating about it. If people would allow themselves, if they would just let that crack in, open their mind up a little bit to the fact that I'm telling the truth, that's what breaks a chain for them to be able to do the same thing. And if you aren't willing to hear my story and be willing to suspend disbelief and see, okay, that, because this is how I did this. This is how I used this as well. Okay. It's like, wow, if they can do it, if that's true for them, that opens up the possibility that it's true and it could happen for me, you know, like, but if people can't even get to that point, well, guess what? It'll never happen for them because we're creators. And if you don't believe you're capable of doing it, you fucking won't. And people literally show you exactly what they believe about their life by the things that are going on in it. You know what I'm saying? The things that are going on in people's lives, when you stop and you look at it, it tells you exactly what they truly believe about themselves. And all the programs of the chains that they put on us to limit us. Like, and I can just give you an example of one that I still fight. You know what I'm saying? And it's the lack and poverty programming. You know what I'm saying? Believing that there's not enough money to come towards me. You know what I mean? So I got distracted. I see psychic up there.
Love the duck.
I do too. Love the duck. But yeah, so that's where I'm going with this. It's like, it's just so, it's maddening to know that I have experienced all of these mind-blowing, crazy things. And that the thing that is stopping and holding back people from having their own crazy experiences like this is just that they don't want to open their mind up to the possibility that I'm telling them exactly the 100% truth.
It is weird because like I've had friends that I was sure, and I'm not ripping on them, and I know I've told this story, so I'll do it quickly. When I started to figure out the whole biomolecular construct of reality, I had a friend who once saw me get drunk and talk to an astrophysicist, and I was on par. And when I told him that I had figured out how this worked, and he's like, I don't want to know, and he's barely spoken to me since. Right? Like,
wow.
It's just like, oh, okay, so you
put a chink in his armor. Yeah.
Yeah, like he knew because like he called bullshit when I was talking to the astrophysicist, like, oh, you're drunk, you don't. And the chick looks at him and goes, actually, he's like a drunk redneck Sheldon. Like he knew,
wow.
I knew it was just pouring out of me like the same way I get downloads and stuff. It was just blah 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 blah, blah and I was explaining space and travel and stuff, and he's like, you're full of shit, and she's like, no, he's not. Right?
No.
Speaking of that, you mentioned about trying to find the right words. I actually had this happen on a panel last week. Do you ever get information coming in so fast that you can't physically get it out verbally, and you just start tripping over your tongue, and you're like, okay, everybody stop, one person at a time, and go.
Yes, it happens a lot to me, especially when I'm on stream and I'm getting ready to do my tarot card pulls, and it's like all my guides get excited and they're like around me, and I'm like, whoa, like hold up a second. Like, just let me slowly unpack this. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to that. Even just in normal stuff, you know what I'm saying? Just talking to people. It's like when let's say there's a particular part of yourself or a guide or something like that wants to share something with that person. And let's say they're just really impatient and they're really excited. And so they throw it through you and you're like trying to say it and you're stumbling over all your words. It's like, feels like it's that for you. It's like it's a part of yourself. It's like, I don't want to say like a fractal, but maybe it's like a version of yourself the astrophysicist one, I was feeling it. It's like it's like they're on their own ship. It's like a party that has their own ship. It's almost like it looks like the ship behind you right there, you know?
Yeah.
And they were so excited to talk about it, and they just jumped right in. You know, they weren't even patient about it. They're like, talk, talk, talk.
Like the physics and stuff is crazy. Like I don't know if I told you about this on the last show, but I had another podcaster ask me if I thought this was a simulation at one point, and I went to sleep meditating on it and woke up and knew where to find all of the information to write a fairly lengthy paper on it and a rudimentary understanding of quantum entanglement and quantum mechanics. Like nothing I learned in this reality, but it's like, oh, guess what I understand now.
Yeah. You're channeling it in. This is that part of you that's here to bring that information into the people.
It's an absolutely fascinating, and I can't believe people are closed off to this because it's fascinating experience. Like once you realize that the only thing that you will be entered by is what you allow, right? And all that I allow is me. So all the information that I'm allowing is just me. Like I haven't even gotten as far as guides. I've just been trying to channel different variations of my consciousness and
that's how you should start. Absolutely.
Get in touch and tune with those, because like I've said before, I fell ass backwards into this. Like I was sleeping 2 years ago and having a wonderful little 3D experience and making the best money of my life. Right. And then all of this shit happened because I started seeing like another reality and realizing, wait a minute, that's just a stage of my conscious existence, and everything just blew up. Right. So like this is very good information because it seems like there's a lot of parallels in our experiences and understandings of how this information is received and where it comes from.
Yeah. They're telling me it was a scheduled demolition is what they said. It was that was meant to happen. I don't know what exactly happened to make everything fall apart, but it was like that was necessary in order to get you here now.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Something you kind of alluded to, I think I know the story, but I still want to hear it, is the name Aurora Diamondheart. Like, did that just come to you? Is that something like as this personality came to light, or was it gifted to you by the intelligence itself, I guess you would say?
Well, there's a couple reasons now why, but I'll tell you the very first one. The very first one was because Facebook decided to ban me 7 times during the Hunter Biden stuff, you know, and so I had to come up with a new name. I had come up with several. Like I tried to always use Cassandra because, quite honestly, I love the name Cassandra. It's a very beautiful name. You know, names are important. The name that you were given, okay, the name that you take on yourself, the meanings behind them, they're important. So I always liked the name Cassandra, but I needed a new name and I needed something that still felt like me. Okay. And so when I looked back, all right, I had taken this class in high school. It was a Latin class. And in Latin class, I had to pick another name for myself. And so Cassandra was already one of the names. So I was like, I can't pick Cassandra. I want to pick a different name, you know? And so I used my middle name in Latin, which is Dawn. So Aurora is Dawn. Aurora is Latin for dawn. Okay, so I just mainly named myself after my second name, but then I found out later on that actually in the Ascension Glossary, there is a whole collective of auroras, and actually that's what we're here to do. Is we're here to bring in certain energies into the planet to help its ascension, right? And I do believe that the auroras are a collective, and I felt most connected, quite honestly, to this girl. Her name's Aurora, the Flying Rainbow Lasagna, and I absolutely love the way she talks about what her mission here is, because I feel very much in alignment and resonating with her mission, which is to help change timelines. We're here to help correct timelines. We're here to help make timelines better, put people on that higher path, you know, to align themselves with higher love and joy. Because that's what's really been going on down here with the negative alien agenda, so to speak. Okay, is that they have made us energetically vibrate so low, and the only thing the things that are really going to help bring people out of that is these good experiences, having miraculous experiences, feeling connected, feeling like you have purpose, feeling like you have meaning. That is what they took from us, is they took a feeling of purpose from us, you know, and now people are so desperate for it that they're willing to do things like turn into a liberal Democrat and support Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? Like they're willing to do stuff like that just so they can feel connected to something. You
Yeah.
know, like that's why humans need connection. They do. They need it.
Absolutely. And that's something I had a guest, that witch Karina from The Witches Inn. She was the one who really put it in perspective for me when she explained the difference between society and community, right? And the sociological construct is literally, in my opinion, when people are talking about the trap, that's it. What's distracting us, what's destroying us, what's keeping us sick, what's doing this, it's the sociological construct that's been inserted over top of what should be tight knit, family oriented communities, right? Everything else that society has become is unnatural, and that's why we are so detached and so easily manipulated and so low vibration, because like you stay in a lower resonance and you're easier to control. You know, sick, tired slaves are the best ones because they don't fight back, right? Well, everybody's sick and tired because of the sociological construct that we live in, and you never think to, you know, find your true self or go on an internal spiritual journey or really think about your life, or even why the hell are we here? Is it really to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go work and make somebody else money? Is that really why I came? Does that seem right? Did I really come here to do that? No. But you don't even have time to have those thoughts. Like, it actually took what some people would consider a psychological breakdown for me to even get to where I am. I had to have that. Like I said, I got kicked out of bed, right? Like, it was like, okay, you're done sleeping. Here's another conscious reality. Fucking figure it out, or we're going to do something worse. And this went on for like 9 nights. And it was like, okay, I can't just ignore this anymore. And that's when this all started breaking loose. Not trying to get on a ramble here, but you're absolutely dead on point with, it's the construct that stops us from figuring out who we are.
Mm-hmm. They keep us so busy. So exactly what you said, busy, tired, overworked, trying to survive. You know, I was literally just talking to my my oldest son about this today, you know, when he's actually finally been more willing to hear me out about some of the things going on in the world, you know, like for the first time. And so, I mean, I talked to him for like a good hour and a half about all these different things that he had never opened his mind up to and everything. And so one of the things we were talking about was like, yeah, the reason that you don't know about any of this stuff is because they literally keep us locked down like this on purpose. You know, they don't want us to be able to discover what our true creator abilities are, because then we will really start to be able to make those changes. You know, we might be able to actually help the world get into a better place than what it is right now. And even the nuclear family, even the nuclear family is even a myth. You know, like that is the worst thing for human beings. I mean, we went from having a community of women to help raise each other's children, to help us get through it, those hard times, having multi generations where it's like they have that experience to help even the younger generation. And it's like, and we took those moms and we threw them in a house by themselves and said, you have to do all of this by yourself. You have to cook, you have to clean, you have to have the baby, you have to breastfeed the baby, you have to, you know, make sure you keep the husband happy, make sure you keep the baby happy, like all this type of stuff. And it's like, it just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work for people like that. And having been one of the women who tried to do that, thought I could do it all, and then ended up a drug addict, broken, you know, like it just doesn't work like that. I had to find a new way. You know, we all really do. We all have to find a new way. And it starts with realizing that really we're all one being. First of all, I don't know why that came out first, but really we're really all one being, and we deserve to feel connected to each other. And if you're interested, totally segue here, if you're interested in coming to hang out and connect, you can see me down in Florida this July at the Full Disclosure Now conference. I'm just going to do a plug on that real quick. Come and see me. I love to meet new people. We absolutely activate each other when we get around each other with our frequency fields. So please, if you were considering it at all, go to Full Disclosure Now. You can type it in. I'm pretty sure it'll come up. So anyway, if anyone is interested in coming to meet me and we can talk more about this fun stuff, that is where I'm going to be. They're going to have 2 beach days at the end. It's going to be a great time. Okay. Anyway, back to what
And
you were now.
and a reason to go to Florida. I know, like, why not?
They have a
There's
great lineup too. Let me tell you that Brian, my God, I went to the last conference last year, and he brings so many people in. Okay, and he's got like 2 stages running at the same time. So it was like you have your pick of who. Like you won't get bored, is what I'm saying. Like there's no getting bored when it comes to this. And then they have these great dinners every night, and there's a costume contest at the end. And I'm really looking forward to it. I bought my costume just recently, so.
Well, your one last year knocked it out of the park.
I won it last year, so I mean, I'm not banking on winning it again this year, but I Wait, what? What's that? Is that a drumming thing?
No, that is a wonderful little place in the Badlands here in Alberta that will absolutely fascinate you. That there's a spiritual fair being held by my last week's guest, Sonia Roy, in that exact location, and I'm sure you would fit right in there.
Well,
so it's rated.
I'm working on getting my real ID or my passport so that I can come to Canada because I have a few good reasons to now. So
yeah. Definitely some visits to have. I'm under the same thing. I've always been on the greatest side of the law, so I have to even see if I'm allowed to go to that particular portion of North America.
We'll manifest it.
Oh, we have dinosaur sage and rocks and hoodoos. And if you haven't seen what a hoodoo is, like a stone hoodoo, you should definitely look it up. They're very fascinating.
Oh my God. All you had to say was dinosaurs, and I'm down.
Yeah. That's actually where me and Spinja got married. That's the picture of her on Facebook when she's in the mouth of the dinosaur. That's the giant T-Rex in Drumheller.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my God. You guys are reptilians. You guys are.
I am anyway.
This is why we get along so well. Yes, it's our soul braids.
Yeah. So I want to get into the fairy aspect of things too. When did you start working with or identifying with the fairy energies? Like when did that come into play?
Well, honestly, it didn't come into play until after I had this really intense meditation. It was a group meditation, and it was for gifts of spirit. And in this meditation, they literally gave me the heart of the blue fairy. They gave it to me, and it was very interesting because when they gave it to me, it looked like this box, this blue box, and it had like these twigs coming out of it, and it was very interesting. And I didn't even know why I thought it was the heart. I just knew like claircognizance. I just knew. I was like, oh wow, this is the heart. This is a blue fairy heart, And I was like, wow. And I told my guides, and so I said, well, thank you for this. I said, but how do I start it? I said, how do I get it going? I'm like, clearly this is supposed to be lit. I'm like, this is supposed to be has light inside it or whatever. And my guides told me, don't worry, you'll know when it happens. And I was like, okay. Well, as it turned out, later on, I found out that through Rudolf Steiner's work, that he actually found out how to create the sacred geometry of the heart, which he called chestahedron. And how he did it was he had to take these certain twigs and you put them you line them up in a certain way. And when you spin it in water, it would create this shape, this geometric shape it fits perfectly inside of our chest the way it is, the way it sits. It even starts to cock to the left or something like that a little bit, like it perfectly lines up. And it just so happened to look exactly like the heart they gave me. It looked that's what it looked like. And I was like, oh my God. Like, see, that's why that's how you know when the confirmation's when it's real. You know what I'm saying? Because these things will happen, and then the resulting confirmation comes, right? And I did know when it happened. It felt like a big giant poof, like it started, and it was like life has begun. I was like, yay, I'm here, like I'm ready. And that's when they told me afterward too. They told me that it was the heart of the blue fairy. They said that I was the blue fairy, and I'm so beloved by the universe that they even wrote me into children's fairy tales, is what they said. And then they said, It said, time does not work like you think it works. It is more like a circle. Everything has a beginning and an ending, and this is your ending beginning. That's what they said to me. And then they said, I had two guides that like kind of pulled up. It was like I felt like it was like a switch out or changeover or something. And they said, behind me, someone shouted, and how do you ignite the heart of the blue fairy? And then in front of me, one said, by making all of her dreams come true first. And I was like, holy shit, and I'm like crying my eyes out because like, I mean, this was just the most beautiful, miraculous experience and message that I ever could have even gotten or hoped for. And I basically had to go from there to try and figure out, okay, well, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes things more meaningful. When spirit gives you something that you don't know what it means and you have to go and find the meaning of it. So like when they said like Anubis has my heart, you know what I'm saying? Like I had to go look up Anubis, and so it creates like a puzzle piece, a puzzle piece memory that you hold on to. It's easy to go back and pull those things, right? And so anyway, to get back to the fairy part, okay, and I also had a fairy guide that a channeler I got a reading from told me I had a fairy guide, and I kind of sensed it, and it was a yellow jacket fairy. Isn't that funny? Apparently, when you start to get into fairy stuff, a fairy guide will come, okay? But the way I understand fairy energies is, for one, they're elemental beings, right? They're ancient elemental beings for the most part. But I also feel strongly connected to the ideal of the Chinese fairy. If I'm going to be a fairy, I'm a Chinese fairy. I'm not an Irish fairy. I'm not from over there. I'm from China. Okay. And how the Chinese look at fairies, which is, obviously male and female can be fairies. It's like, it's actually just arising in your consciousness. Okay. So it's like you got like the human, right? And then it would be fairy, and then it would be immortal, and then it'd be like gods, like in from what I've learned about Chinese beliefs when it comes to this. And as soon as I figured that out, and I was like, oh, okay, because I'd already understood this concept once before from this book called Initiation. It was called The Jacob's Ladder of Consciousness. And it talks about the 7 rungs of consciousness that we all climb and we go up. I don't think we talked about this a little bit last time. Yeah, we did. So the fairy energy is just higher vibrational energy. It's just my soul is ascending a little bit. And so that's where the fairy energy comes from the most. But I also feel very connected to the earth. I know I've been here for, I don't know, I think they told me 500 million years I've been here. So it took me that long. Yeah. That my most important dream. They told me I've been here for 500 million years, and that it was going to take me that long to figure out that everything I feared I created. That's what they said.
So she kind of beat me to the punch here, but pretty sure Aurora was my fairy guide in a QHHT session. I was actually witness to this session, and you and I weren't even on a personal. I think I had seen you on Rob's show once, and we didn't even know about the blue fairy stuff. We just knew you had cool blue hair.
Yeah. She
had a QHHT session and met a fae named Annabelle, who took her to a dance, and it was quite the experience. Like, and it was weird because it was her session, but I was able to visualize it. So I was like, holy crap. And she was saying like, oh, there's this waterfall and there's this and there's that. And I had this vision in my head, and I went, holy shit, it's in Iceland. I picked up my phone, Googled waterfall, purple flowers, Iceland. Sure as shit, I found the exact spot that her and the fairy were. And she's like, that's where I just was. And I'm like, I know, I saw it too.
Wow. That is so super cool. I want to see a picture of that place for sure after this. But yeah, I wanted to say, I would not doubt that happened, and that's me, because I've had other people tell me this before. I've had it happen before. Okay, where before I even, in fact, the first time it happened before I was even knew myself as the blue fairy. Okay, what happened was there was this teacher that I was going to. She called herself the Earth Star Healer. Okay, and she was running a school, and I was following her live streams like all the time. Okay. And one of the live streams I remember I was so excited about, because it was like, she was like, oh my God, I had a blue fairy come to me in a dream. And it was a picture of this blue fairy that she used for like what it looked like for her and everything like that. And I basically told her and shared with her the same story This is okay. This is going to take it to a dark place. I'm sorry, guys, but if you stop and think about what the Blue Fairy was in Pinocchio, you know what I'm saying? What the movie, what the story is about? It's about child sex trafficking, right? And
Mhm.
so she basically said that this Blue Fairy was telling her about how we need to save these children. That this is what we really came here for, was because we heard God's children crying out for help, and so we had to come. And then the next day she ended up sharing this dream with us on this live stream, and she went over how the next day on the news program she had heard this most disturbing story about a father doing this thing to an infant and killing this infant, and it was the same exact story that I had first heard that woke me up to what the truth was about children and what's going on with it. The same story. So later on when I came out, live streaming and all that type of stuff and just making posts and talking, telling people I'm the Blue Fairy, she actually herself went back to the Facebook post where she had announced that the Blue Fairy had come to visit her to dream, and she tagged me in it, and she said, "It was you. It was you." And I know it was. I know it was because she's one of the people that I made one of my first biggest manifestation heart wishes for, and it happened, and it was like, so I know, no doubt, that I am connected to her, and I'm a time traveler. Obviously, look, we're time travelers. Time isn't what we think it is. We don't really understand it like what it really is, and yeah. So if you happen to see a blue fairy in your dream, it looks like me, or meditation, I mean, QHHT, come and tell me, because I love these stories. You know what I'm saying? And it makes me happy that we went to this place together, because that's what I like to do in my meditations too, my own free time, when I am off daydreaming and stuff like that. Yes. Yes. I would definitely do that. I can feel it even. I can feel the place now. And I love the feel of that place. It reminds me of like a grotto type of thing going on.
Yeah. It pretty much, yeah. That's I'll find the picture again and send it to you after the show, but that's freaking wild. Where do you stand on the etheric creature version of fairies?
The what? The etheric what?
The etheric creature version, you know, the actual ones that some people can see in this reality that are tiny beings that fly.
Well, if they're seeing them, it's because their vibrational frequency is high enough of a match for them to see those energetic beings, because they're always here. I mean, they're always here. The only way, the thing is that we can't perceive them in these human bodies unless there's been some upgrades, I'm going to say, or like I said, unless you are through meditation and spiritual discipline are able to get your vibration up high enough to where those things will become, those things will come visible to you. Yeah.
That actually leads.
They definitely exist.
That actually leads right into it, and I know my coworker Lonnie's in the chat and is probably going to rip on me for this one, but I actually saw 3 in Calgary one day. At about halfway up the windshield of a bus, about a foot and a half out from it, in what looked like yellow mist. They were about the size of a Barbie doll, and there was 3 of them just kind of there, and I was apparently the only one that could see them, and I'm just like rubbernecking and like trying not to run into shit as I'm driving. And then when I tried to see it in the mirror, they were gone. But I looked directly at them 3 times. That's why I asked. Like,
they were showing themselves to you. Yeah, they were. Just like when my Soul Braid Walk-In showed itself to me for that second, right? They were. They wanted, that was for you to see.
And you were just saying about upgrades, and I know you did a show about this recently on your channel. Do you think that these upgrades are exactly that, like where our perceptions will shift? I know, like, okay, yeah, I changed my diet a little bit, but I'm in better physical health than I've been in years. Kyla is down to her healthiest weight ever and looks absolutely phenomenal. Like, these, it seems like the higher emotional frequency we resonate at, the healthier and more easier life is becoming. Like, I'm just wondering if that's the lead into the upgrades, because like I'm starting to perceive things, I'm starting to feel things, and I'm starting to feel ways that are all new.
Yeah, it's like you're breaking those chains that I'm taught, that I keep mentioning about those limiting self-beliefs. It's like limiting self-beliefs. It's like you guys are even helping each other break those together. Gosh, there was something else though. Hold on. Okay, and the sun is doing a lot of work too. I will say that these solar flares and everything, I do think that they are awakening our dormant DNA. But the other thing that really, it's crazy to think that it could be like this, but doing deep meditations, doing silent meditations, or doing mantra meditations, this can help you get those upgrades, help awaken those dormant parts of yourself. There's something else too, though. But you do have to make sure. Here's the thing: if you're going to try to be getting upgrades and stuff like that, you do have to make sure you start detoxing the body of heavy metals. Like you can't just go into it and like the vessel is the channel. You know what I'm saying? Like this is God's energy has to come in here, and it can't get in if there's a bunch of junk, and that includes like emotional trauma and stuff like that. Those also have to be cleared out in order for more of your own higher self to come into the body and be able to do its work here and to help create those miracles for people, in my opinion.
I totally agree with that. I was actually just talking about that recently, that it seems like the cleaner my vessel, the wider the broadband width, or what the funnel, or whatever you want to envision, whatever you want to put it in. Like, I quit smoking, I quit drinking, I quit taking pharmaceutical drugs, I quit hard drugs a while ago. The only thing I use is plant medicine because I took myself off of the pharmaceuticals, and I had a motorcycle accident and would be in absolutely excruciating pain 24/7 if I didn't partake in THC. Aside from that, my life is completely clean and sober.
Yeah.
And the more healthy I get, the more just info just dumps into me. Like, it's almost uncontrollable at this point at times.
Yeah, you're really accelerating. The times have accelerated. That's for sure. I mean, just look at politics, what's happening with that right now. It's fucking insane.
Oh,
The world it's on fire. It's funny. I was just watching this video today about Jesus and his secret teachings and stuff like that, and he was talking about one of the scriptures was saying basically that Jesus said that he came to set the world on fire. Is what he was doing. He poured his truth was going to pour gasoline on the people, and then they would light the world on fire, is what he was saying. And yeah, I definitely think it's almost like that whole bifurcation thing that people talk about sometimes. It's like you're either going to be going up or you're going to be going down. It's like either or going to stay the same, let's say, so to speak. It's like it's now or never, people. It's time.
Yeah. And people have heard me nerd out about this before, but I really do think you hit it on the head with the word perception again. Like, I think it's emotional frequency, and the higher emotional frequency you resonate at, you're going to get a shift in your perception, and those are the only things that you're going to be able to perceive. The ones that choose to stay in a lower vibration, those are the things they're going to perceive. And Karen in the chat actually asked that when we were discussing this on the weekend, is there other levels? Well, I think absolutely, because there's an infinite number of, like, a spectrum of vibration, frequency, and light that we can't perceive. We get about this much out of, like, bleh,
Yeah,
right?
huge.
That's what we can understand, right? Well, if that frequency shifts, like you could see Faye, then you might no longer perceive the people at the lower, because you've, like, dialed your binoculars, so to speak, into this frequency, and that's all you can see now.
Exactly. And you'll actually repulse people, is the thing. Is the people that when you shift into a different frequency, the people who were once attracted, like, they get pushed away, so to speak. Kind of like when I first started coming out of my drug addiction and everything like that, and I just stopped and I looked around me and I realized, like, birds of a feather, and I realized, wow, this is what's representing me. I'm looking at myself here around me. So it's like I had to completely isolate myself and start to change my mindset. And all those people that were like that, they just fell away. And I attracted a whole new group of people. And it's because your frequency attracts it. How you feel, those types of energies is going to attract those important people to you. Oh gosh, there was one more other thing I had ready to go about this. Oh, was there something else you were getting ready to say?
No, I was kind of digging what you were saying.
I know, right? It's like, okay, hold on. Okay. I'm like, was there something else I was going to say about that? I just know it's true for me, for sure, is that I know what it was now. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Carlos Castaneda, but I audio listened to his books, a couple of them, over the last year at some point. And he actually talks about, see, that's the thing. When you start to meditate and you start to get in tune with your body and with your energy field, you know what I'm saying? For me, I sensed this thing called an assemblage point, is what Carlos Castaneda, um, he refers to it as that. And what it is, it's like, imagine like your field is like an egg, right? And where the light God has to come in, where God's light coming in, is like there's going to be like a little hole wherever that light, wherever those cords are going to come and connect in. Okay, that's where your perception of life and reality comes from, is from where that assemblage point is. Okay, so for when I first started waking up, so to speak, and I first started going through all these classes and everything, my assemblage point, I could see it, I could feel it, and it was literally like right in front of me over here, like to my left, or like, and then after everything happened for me, it literally changed and it moved to behind my back over here. Okay. And then even recently, I've had it move again since then, actually, and it moved up over here. And I feel like every time, if you learn to sense and tap into what that is, just use the word even for now. Okay. Ask God, ask Spirit to help you understand what that term even means and how it relates to you in your field. And you should be able to sense where it's at. And I think that when it moves like that, it's because it's your perception has shifted now, and you're going to be able to see something completely new. Like the world's going to literally look different to you when that happens, because that's exactly what happened to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's where all the light from all the information coming into you, that's where it's got to come from, is inside that assemblage point. So
I dig that, because I actually asked Matt Morney, and I think it was on Rob's show the one time, might have been on mine, I don't know, why it seems like most people that do readings are intuitive, and I've even been catching myself doing it. It's always up and to the left. Like you catch the reader's eyes; they always go up and to the left. Well, Matt explained it to me that that's where there's a break in his Merkaba and the information is streaming. So much like what you were saying, that's where he's receiving, and a lot of intuition, I guess, comes from that particular stream or that particular area. So it makes sense. And I was like, holy shit. And as you were explaining that, I was like, that ties right into what Matt was saying.
Yep, it sure does. He also read Carlos Castaneda. He studied that too. So that's kind of where I started hearing about those terms first. And then I decided to go ahead and dive into it. It was called The Art of Dreaming. There's a couple of them. The Art of Dreaming, The Eagle's Gift. There's one more, and they're available on YouTube, you guys. So if you want to check them out and listen to them, I highly recommend it. They're very, I mean, I couldn't stop listening to it once I started it. You know how those, like when you see, like, you start reading a book and you just can't stop. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's exactly what happened. So I guarantee you, if you're into the type of stuff I'm talking about, you're gonna dig it. You're gonna dig it.
I'm gonna get that link off you after the show too.
Absolutely. I absolutely will help you with that. Yes.
We are coming up on an hour and a half already, and like, holy shit.
I can't believe that. It's fun. It just feels like just like 30 minutes ago we started, but whatever.
Right. So I'll wrap on, if you could give people advice to achieve that emotional frequency and truly be at peace with who you are in order to ascend, like, and who experience the things and get the information from the higher source and connection to your guides, what practice would you put into play, or what would you just basic advice to get people going in that direction?
Wow. Oh, that is.
I know that's a big question.
So many different ways I could go with that question. Okay, so how would I help people to get on track with that? Well, first of all, it took me a while to really chip away at the programming. For me, it started with A Course in Miracles, and I talked about that last time we were here. The workbook, the Course in Miracles workbook. If you aren't good at meditating, if you're like, I've never done meditating, or I've tried and I just couldn't do it, if you've never done this, the Course in Miracles workbook is perfect for you. And I beg and I plead, please, it's online for free. You can do a lesson a day, and it will literally teach you how to meditate. It will literally help you start to deprogram your mind, okay, and realize what you actually truly are. That's the whole purpose of it, is to help you discover who you truly are inside. And after I finished it, I did know. And that is literally what started to get me here. Okay, was realizing that all the things that I believed about myself, all the things I've been telling myself, none of it was true. It's time to get rid of all of that. You are not what you think you are, you know? And so what it basically guides you to do, and what I did was I realized, wow, I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I've never known what the fuck I'm doing. And if I just go based on my human body's perspective alone, okay, if I just go on that, I can't make great choices. You know, my life, I was a drug addict, I was fucked up. I had 6 kids at this point, you know, it's like, oh my God, you know. And so I realized, like, I I I basically gave myself to God at that point. And I just said, God, you know, please, I don't even want any of this anymore. I was like, I will take it gladly and I will throw it all away. I said, I only want you to show me what I am. I want you, I want to have your thoughts. I want to have your feelings, God. Get rid of all the ones that I've had. Let me feel what you are. Let me feel that, you know, and that was what really started me, them guiding me step by step to get to that, was my willingness to surrender. And so many people are not willing to surrender that much, to, like, they're still so attached to their body's ego that they don't realize that they're two separate things, you know. And so the first thing I would do is look into that. But if that doesn't appeal to you, then I can also guide you in the way of the law of assumption, which is what I ended up basically using, not knowing that's where I was going with all this at the beginning, with manifestation. Okay. And the law of assumption basically says that we're one being, and that every single person is just you pushed out, and anything coming into your conscious awareness is for you, to guide you, and they're trying to tell you something. Okay. And the way you can use this law is, you stop and you imagine, you pick what is it that you want to experience, and then you imagine what it would feel like. You claim it. You say, this is what I am, and you claim it, and you daydream about it, and you feel it. You do everything you can to invoke the feeling that you're already in the end. You're living in the end. It's already happened. Think of how happy you would be to. So let's say your goal is to have a new car. So you're going to imagine yourself driving that new car. You're going to imagine the color of it. You're going to imagine how good you're going to feel, how happy you're going to feel driving this new car. Where are you going to drive it to? And being thankful. God, thank you for giving me this new car. And you're going to hold on to that, and you're going to keep doing that every single day until you get that car. If you're determined and you really believe that you deserve that car, you will have that car. God will guide you step by step to get that thing that you want, you know. And it's just about starting off little, to start chipping away at the belief that you're not capable of doing this. Once you start chipping away that it is a possibility that you could ask for these things and actually get them, as long as you do this work, you know. I mean, there ain't nothing going to be to stop you if you really put the time and effort in. And I mean, it's what I've literally been using for years now. I didn't even know that's what I was doing at first. That's how natural it came to me. And so now I've manifested this house. I've manifested another house that I had. I've manifested all these things. And I feel like so many people don't even believe they deserve the things they want, or they don't even stop to take the time to daydream about what they want, you know. But quite honestly, your inner world is where it all starts. In fact, you need to make your inner world so strong and so powerful, all right, that it feels more real than even the outer world, because that's what's going to make that inner world come to the outer world.
I absolutely love that. And Braden was saying he's done it several times and it works. I know it's a practice and principle that Kyla and I have been putting into play. Like, you know, I used to say I've been poor all my life, and now I say I used to be poor, and it's changed. Even when she had her accident, we said, you know, we'd been talking before, and this was messed up. We were like, you know, we like our truck, but this, and this. Well, then she had the accident, and the truck that we got had that, and that. where we mixed up. We forgot to mention that we wanted the same size of engine, so we don't have the Hemi anymore. It's a V6, but it's
See,
cheaper on gas.
you gotta be specific. Yes.
Yeah.
And people are so, I mean, we've just been really beat down to really think that those things aren't possible. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, it absolutely is 100% possible, and it goes to the video I showed a while ago about, you know, what you feed your mind is what reality creates. Like, you know, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You know, they're programming us. They're taking advantage of the fact that we're creator beings on autopilot. And I'm stealing that phrase from my lovely wife. We are absolutely creator beings that have been forced onto autopilot, right? And we have to be able to shake our heads out of that autopilot programming and go, wait a minute, I'm not fucking creating anything for you. I want some shit. Because once you start saying, I came here to do some shit and I want some shit, you'll start getting some shit.
and you know, and I feel like the thing that I just would like to add to that is like, you got to remember, if it's about your own belief too, and feeling like you deserve it inside, like how I started to create that within myself was, I would tell God what good would I do with the thing that they were going to give me. I'm saying, if you give me this thing, I'm going to do this, you know, I'm saying, to help people, or, you know, like think of those and really feel it and know that, like, okay, or it can even be more selfish. So let's just say, like, I need this thing, God, because I'm going to drive my kids around in it, and we need this car, and we'll be so much happy. Just think of what I'll be able to do with my kids if you just give me this bigger car, you know, that type of thing. And because it's about, again, it's about how you really feel about what you deserve inside. What you get is what you really feel like you deserve. And they've just fed us with so much shit. They've just like that. It's hard to get even people, you know, people are more willing to invest emotionally into, you know, movies and stories and stuff like that than they are even in their own life. You know, it's like, shouldn't you feel that when you look at those stories and it's like, wow, that's a beautiful love story, or that's this, like, don't you want to feel that way about your own? You know, don't you want that?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you deserve that. Like, you deserve to have something like that. All of us deserve that. And we all could, because we're all not going to ask for the same things. We're all going to want different things. And there's enough. There's enough.
Absolutely. And you did touch on something. I was being a little silly with the I want thing. Absolutely ask for things that you need and desire in your own life that aren't going to harm or hurt anybody else. But that is another key to manifestation, is that the more people it benefits, the faster and more furiously it'll come into your life.
Yeah.
And probably in greater amounts of abundance, because when you ask for things of the universe from a non-selfish place, it pays you pretty quickly too.
Absolutely. It absolutely does. In fact, a lot of my manifestations, once I really got into gear with them, would happen within 24 hours. So it can happen real quick. But, you know, some of them are going to have to take a little bit longer, you know, because there's going to be like a step process, like to getting whatever it is.
Absolutely. I love all the information that we've shared with everybody. If people want to get a hold of you or get a reading or reach out to you to further pick your brain about these awesome subjects, where do they do that?
Well, you can find me at a few places, but if you're trying to actually reach me, you could send me an email at auroradiamondheart@gmail.com. But also you can find me on my YouTube channel. That's Aurora Diamondheart. If you go there and you throw a comment under one of my videos or anything, I will most likely see it. But the best way, the fastest way you'll probably get a hold of me and my attention, quite honestly, is Facebook. Okay. Not the Messenger. But I have a pretty bumping meme page going right now. And I'm telling you something, I have broke some glass ceiling when it comes to Facebook and my memes, because I've been climbing by the hundreds for weeks. Yes, really? Like at least 100, like literally it's been 200 in the past like 4 or 5 days. People just starting to follow me. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I'm just like, so if you want to find me there, just look up, it's always going to be Aurora Diamondheart. Just look for the picture with me pointing, because there's two. I have a backup. You gotta look for the picture of me going, pointing to, like, I voted, like that. Okay, it'll be flip flop like that. So
Yeah.
look for that one and follow me there. And if you see one of my memes you like, or you're just trying to get my attention because you've emailed me and I haven't written back that fast, or just throw a comment underneath one of my memes. I literally stay on top of it because I just have so much. I'm trying to not get it too far behind. That's the one thing I actually keep up on. So
Victor threw in not the first link. I guess don't comment on the first link on your page. I don't know.
oh, not the first link. Is there a link? At the first, I'm thinking he's talking about the first Aurora Diamondheart that comes up. It's probably my backup count. Maybe that comes up first, is what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. Just
Yeah.
so we're clear. Yeah.
Yeah. But I am working. I am pulling together a website. It's coming. Me and Victor, who's going to help me here. I am going to get my website going so that way people can actually get a hold of me. I used to do. I kind of do a combination of a tarot manifestation reading. Quite honestly, I used to advertise myself as a manifestation coach too, but it seems like people. It's like I already give it to them with the tarot reading. I can't. It's like they're mixed together, so I have to. Like, that's what you're going to get from me. You're going to get a tarot reading. You're going to get however you want to pick my brain about how to manifest things that how you want to bring your dreams into reality, so to speak. Yeah. I hope that's enough. Yeah. Hope you guys can find me there. I feel bad. I feel like I've not been very good at keeping up on my email. I feel bad about that right now.
I actually have I hooked you up before the show in the description anyway. It's in your Facebook and YouTube are in the description. But just in case anybody's listening on audio, because this goes out on Forbidden Knowledge Network as well. So
thank you.
Yeah. I do want to thank everybody that came over from your page and all of my friends that came here for my stuff. You guys were awesome. You're just blowing up the chat and I love you. And by the way, I want to thank, and this is just insane, all 456 subscribers I have now. So thank you very much. I did not expect this a year ago. I thought maybe a few people might give a shit about what I have to say, but apparently there's like 450 something that give a shit about what I have to say. So thank you for subscribing. I love you guys all. And like I always say, if you can go outside, please do, because it's a lot better than sitting in front of this screen.
True.